What's up guys, it's Mega giving you another deck for Link Evolution. This time guys, we're doing a kind of a deck request because a couple of you have already requested this deck, and that is a Blue Eyes deck. This deck's of course my own opinion at the end of the day, and it's completely cool if you guys disagree with any of the cards that are shown in this video. Blue Eyes is one of those decks that I've gotten just stronger because of Master Rule 5. That and Galaxy Eyes, they struggled a little. Well, Blue Eyes more than Galaxy Eyes struggled because of Master Rule 4. Like, you had to summon a monster next to your Link monster's zone. So being able to just summon out monsters as much as you want now from the extra day is just so much better for Blue Eyes. If you're struggling to make this deck or any decks shown so far, I highly recommend you check out the card hub. Not only does it tell you if a card is in this game, it will tell you where to find it, such as campaign, challenge mode, card packs. It will even tell you where the new cards have been, so where the new cards are that have been added in a couple of days ago. So with that'll be in the description down below. I am trying to stream as much as I can, guys, outside of making videos. So my Twitch is down below, so you can check out me there. We'll just chill, playing Yu-Gi-Oh, making decks, and just having fun really. And with that, guys, let's get into the video. Starting us off, guys, is the 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon. Standard of Blue Eyes, you go through him like it's no tomorrow. Similar like with the Dark Magician build we did the other day. You go through them all. Yes, they're vanilla, but with how many trade-ins and stuff, you're going to be searching to your hand. And also, it lets you get out alternative. 2 copies of Ash Blossom. If your opponent does anything from the deck, such as add a card from the deck to the grave, special summon from the deck, send a card from the deck to the add a card from the deck to the hand, Ash Blossom shuts it down. Absolutely fantastic hand trap, and she's also a tuner, which does make her liable if you need to go into Crystalline Needle Fiber. 3 copies of Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. If you can summon this card from your hand, guys, just by revealing a Blue Eyes White Dragon. So if you're playing Melody, you can pretty much just automatically summon Alternative. It has a field effect as well, where you can destroy 1 monster your opponent controls. However, this card cannot attack the same turn you activate that effect. But if you're going to go into an Xyz or a Synchro using Alternative, you can just pop a card your opponent has, then just go into, like, say, an Xyz or Synchro summon. And this card's name always becomes Blue Eyes White Dragon while it's on the field and graveyard. 1 copy of Chaos Dragon Levier, if I think I'm pronouncing that card name correctly. You can banish this card, guys, by banishing 3 light or dark monsters from your graveyard. We do have dark, such as the DD Crows, and Galactic Spiral Dragon. So yeah, you can use both this card's effects. It gains effects based on what you banish, basically. So if you only banish light, you get special summon a monster from your grave in defense mode. So I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be so easy, especially if you're just gonna banish the tuners or something like that, because then that way you can summon out a Blue Eyes from your graveyard that you used previously. You can play the only dark effect, even though it's going to be really difficult in this deck. You get to shuffle 1 card your opponent has in their hand back to the deck, and if you use both light and dark, you can destroy 2 cards on the field. So Levier, fantastic, and also, like I say, special summon, so it doesn't use up your normal summon, and also because it has 3,000 attack, it's searchable with Melody. 2 copies of DD Crow. It's like a different version, guys, of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave only works on monsters. Yes, it does negate their monsters' effects, so it does work on hand traps. DD Crow doesn't really work that good on hand traps, but it just shuts down your opponent's graveyard, because DD Crow can even work for spell and traps as well, not just for monsters. It doesn't negate them, unlike Called by the Grave, but it can still banish the card still. Going into 1 copy of Dragon Spirit Right, you only need 1, guys, now, because 3 is just kind of a bit too cloggy. Like, you'll brick so hard if you have too many cards. This card is always treated as a Blue Eyes. That means you can protect it with our trap card. When this guy is normal special summoned, you can target 1. You can target 1 card. 1 spell or trap your opponent controls and banish it. That is not once per turn. So say for instance you summoned out this card legit, or you summoned out this card because you had, I don't know, the Return of the Dragon Lords, popped your opponent's back Crow, then you tributed it to summon the Blue Eyes because that's its effect, and played Monster Reborn to bring it back. You can still get rid of another card your opponent has. It's absolutely fantastic. It has a, like I did, Cryon just mentioned then, it does have another effect, a quick effect, we can activate during your opponent's turn, where you can tribute this card, special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand. That is kind of like a little bit of protection in my eyes, because my opponent in one of the duel replays tried to Dark Magic Circle my Dragon Spirit of White. So all I did was just tributed it, summon out my Blue Eyes White Dragon, and because the target was no longer there, they couldn't banish my card. So that way, you got around it. One copy of Galactic Spiral Dragon is a dark attribute, which makes it great for Levier. When this card is in your hand or in the graveyard, so you can even like trade in this card because you can still use its effect even in the grave. It's not a dead card either way. You can special summon this card from your. You can special summon this card if you control two or more light or dark dragons. So summoning out all our Blue Eyes alternatives, our Dragon Spirits. It's so easy to summon out this card, and the next card we're going to go into pretty much sets up this card so well. But banish this card but you have to banish this card if it leaves the field. If you're going to use its effect, you can get around that if you are going to Exceed summon, because obviously the Exceed just sends it to the graveyard. So you can, if you are going to play into Galactic Spiral Dragon, just Exceed summon using it, send it to the graveyard. You can use its effect next turn. It does have another effect where during the main phase you can make all monsters you control become level 8 monsters, which is absolutely broken. Just sets up our Xyz board so well and goes into the OTK with Numeron Dragon. One Nebula Dragon. You can reveal this card and one other level 8 monster in your hand. Special summon both of them. Both of their effects are negated. But say for instance you've got this and Blue Eyes, you just summon them both to the field. Boom. You don't care about Blue Eyes' effect anyway. So that way you get 2 level 8s. So and say Nebula Dragon just sets up Galactic Spiral Dragon because obviously you've got 2 level 8s on field. You just summon Galactic Spiral Dragon for free. And if you had Blue Eyes alternative in hand, so if you had just those 4 dragons in hand, you have got 4 level 8 dragons in play. And that is not even normal summon. You could even do a normal summon on top of that. That's how broken these dragons can be. 3 copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. If you normal summon this card, you get to search out one of your level 1 tuners. So that means you can search out one of the stones. Obviously, if you have Card of Constance in your hand, you can send to the grave and draw 2 cards. But Sage has another effect as well, where you can discard Sage and target one effect monster we control. Say, for instance, you've got nothing in your hand apart from Ash Blossom and Sage. You can play the Ash Blossom, get rid of it, and get rid of Sage to bring out a Blue Eyes. You can do that. It's not recommended, but you can do that. Yeah, and you get special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon or any Blue Eyes monster from your deck. So, for instance, you can play the Dragon Spirit of White, and you can play the Blue Eyes. 3 copies of the White Stone of Legend, Ancient. Ancient. During the end phase, if this card is sent to the graveyard because it was sent in this turn, you can special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your hand. Blue Eyes monster from your deck. A little thing about this, guys, it does say once per turn. It's kind of not. So, for instance, if you sent 2 the White Stone of Ancients to the graveyard, both of their effects will trigger, because it's like it says once per because it's kind of like a once per card effect. So if you had 2 White Spirits, so if you sent both of the Ancients to the graveyard during the end phase, you can summon 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons. Its next effect is limited to once per card. To the whole name. It's not once per card. Where you can banish this card from your graveyard to target a Blue Eyes White Dragon or any Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard, and you can add it to your hand. So yeah, you can add it to the hand as well. So yeah, so you can add a monster to your hand. So that's great. But yeah, it is a little bit of a weird wording with this card text. But yeah, you can summon out 2 Blue Eyes if you sent 2 of them to the grave. And with it being a tuner, it's just great with Crystalline Needle Fiber. Sorry about that. You have the White Stone of Legend. If this card is sent to the graveyard, guys, you automatically add 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon directly from your you get to add 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon directly from your deck to your hand, which means it's just great for trading fodder. It's great for like setting up your hand, for instance, if you had alternative in there. So yeah, absolutely great. And again, because it's a tuner, Crystalline Needle Fiber is legible, and also you can go into Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. One card of Constance, you just got a 1 dragon tuner with 1000 or less attack and draw 2 cards. Basically, this works only with our with our white stones, but and obviously because you sent to the grave, the effects will trigger. So yeah, great card. 1 copy of Dragon Shrine. You send 1 dragon from your deck to the grave, and then you can and if the card you sent was a normal dragon, such as a Blue Eyes or Dragon Spirit, because Dragon Spirit does class as a normal monster as well, you can send another card in there. So it just sets up the graveyard. So say for instance you've got Dragon Lords in hand, you could just send a Blue Eyes, and because you've sent a Blue Eyes there, you could send I don't know, Galactic Spiral, because obviously his effect can trigger in the graveyard. You could send the White Stone of Ancients, so then during the end phase you could summon another Blue Eyes. You could send the Legend, so you could add a Blue Eyes to your hand. There's many ways you can do. There's many plays you can do, guys. Dragon Shrine's great. I decided to leave it at 1 because leaving it at 2, I just found you just sent you'd be like sending all your cards to the grave. You actually end up with nothing to actually summon. Then 1 Foolish Burial. You can send any monster from your deck to the grave. So yeah, this card can it's just like a different version of Dragon Shrine. Just sets up the graveyard beautifully. 1 copy of Monster Reborn. You can target just combo extender any monster, especially from the graveyard, and we'll just go on from there. One copy of 1 for 1. God, that's a mouthful. You can send 1 monster from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon a level 1 monster from your hand or deck. So a great way if you've got brick cards in your hand, guys, such as say Nebula, Blue Eyes White Dragon, or you just want to get like Ancients to the graveyard, or you just want to send Legends to the grave. Great way. And then also, yeah, say you get to summon out any one of our level 1 monsters, such as the Sage, the White Stones, and you just go from there, and it sets up the graveyard. 1 copy of Pod of Avarice. You can you target 5 cards in your graveyard, or 5 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle all 5 into the deck, then you get to draw 2 cards. This is more for late game. So for instance, if you have gone through your hand traps like DD Crow, Ash Blossom, or if you want to return like some of your extra deck monsters back into the back to your extra deck, you just send them there, and you get to draw 2 free cards. 3 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. This is like a Monster Reborn, guys, but on steroids for dragons. So you target 1 level 7 or level 8 dragon monster in our grave, such as our Blue Eyes, such as our Nebula Dragon, such as our Galactic Dragon, and you get to and our Dragon Spirit of White. You get to resurrect it, and also it has a graveyard effect where if any dragon would be destroyed by a battle or by a card effect, you can banish this card in your grave as well. So it just gives your dragons a little bit of protection on top of resurrecting them from the grave. And then 1 copy of Silver's Cry. It's like a Monster Reborn again, but on steroids, because this is a quick play Monster Reborn. You play it during your opponent's turn. You target 1 dragon normal monster in your grave, special summon it, so it only works on the Blue Eyes White Dragons, and again it also works on Dragon Spirit of White, because Dragon Spirit of White acts as a normal monster. Then we have 3 copies of Melody of Awakening Dragon. You discard 1 card, you can add up to 2 dragons with 3,000 attack or more from your deck to your hand. So that pretty much means this 1 card searches out Levier. It searches out both your Blue Eyes White Dragons and your alternative, and you discard a card as well. And if you've got, like, say, Ancients or Galactic Spiral, anything like that you would like to be in the grave, it just sets up the graveyard while adding the correct cards to your hand. Especially if you've got like trade-in, that means you could add like Alternative and Blue Eyes, summon out Alternative because it's effect, and just send the Blue Eyes to the grave with trade-in, draw 2 cards. You just go from there. And speaking of trading, like I just said, you discard 1 level 8 monster, draw 2 cards. So you could always send a Blue Eyes, because obviously you like Blue Eyes in the grave, because obviously you can always manipulate it, like add it back to the hand with Ancients. You can always resurrect it with Dragon Lords, Monster Reborn. Galactic Spiral is a fantastic card with this, because Galactic Spiral doesn't care if it's in the graveyard or in your hand. So yeah, great play. And going on to the traps, guys, we are running 1 skill drain. If you've got your board set up, you don't particularly care. Like for instance, Blue Eyes is power. All of our monsters are power, with like especially with where they all have high attack. So you just go for so you can just pretty much use them all as beat sticks, and also it can disrupt your opponent's plays if they just abusing their monster effects. And then we have 2 copies of the Ultimate Creation of Destruction, which is you can target 1 Blue Eyes monster you control. That turn it cannot be it is unaffected by card effects. It cannot be destroyed in battle, and also any battle and also if it battles an opponent's monster at the end of the damage step, that monster is automatically destroyed. Sorry, throat a bit rough. When the and also it has a graveyard effect while this card is in the grave and you normal special summon a Blue Eyes monster or Blue Eyes White Dragon, you can set this card directly from your graveyard. Yes, it is banished if you leave it as fair, but you're pretty much running four versions of the Ultimate Creation of Destruction. It just gives you Blue Eyes a lot more protection. Like your opponent tries to Dark Hole or anything, at least you're guaranteed you're going to keep your Blue Eyes on the field. And I say the dragon Blue Eyes Alternative's name becomes Blue Eyes White Dragon while it's on the field. So if you summon it, so you summon that or the original Blue Eyes Ultimate Creation will play. And that's it for the deck, guys. Going on to the extra deck, we are running one copy of Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. The reason why I'm running Blue Eyes Twin Burst was because it just gets around pesky cards. So for instance, Blue Eyes Twin Burst can get around Borrow Sword Dragon. You are going to take a little bit of damage because obviously Borrow Sword's effect will trigger, so cuts your monster's attack, but you will get over Borrow Sword, so that's nice. This card cannot be destroyed in battle, so like Borrow Sword, it can't be destroyed, but any monster this card attacks at the end of the damage step, if that monster is still on the field, it banishes it. So if you don't mind taking a little bit of damage, it can get over pesky cards like Borrow Sword, and this card can attack twice during each battle phase if your opponent has more monsters. So for instance, if they played Scapegoat, they've got 4 tokens. This card can wipe out 2 of them tokens each turn, and it's just absolutely fantastic. You summon it, guys, with Contact Fusion, which means you don't need to run Polymerization. You just use 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons, and just go on from there. Synchros, we're running 1 Azure Eyes. This card can just bring back any one of our normal monsters each turn, and also on the turn that Azure Eyes is special summoned, during the next turns, and so all dragons you control cannot be destroyed by card effects until the end of the next turn. You summon this guy out, guys, with pretty much Dragon Spirit with Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, again you summon this with Spirit Dragon, and when you summon out this card, you pretty much are going to use it to go into Crystal Wing, but its effect will still trigger because it was special summoned. You can target one special monster your opponent controls, bounce it back into the hand. If it was from the H deck, just bounce it back to the deck. Fantastic card to chain off with Spirit Dragon, and also, as I say, you're going to use this card to go into Crystal Wing with a level 1 tuner. Then Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Neither player can special summon 2 or more monsters at the same time. It kind of is decent against pendulums, because obviously they can only pendulum summon one monster really if they use that effect. And when during I've player's turn, once per turn, when a card effect is activated in the grave, Spirit Dragon will shut it down. There is a lot of cards that like search upon going to the graveyard, like being destroyed, or I don't know, any monster activates like activate this card in the graveyard, banish it. You see what I mean? It's like Blue Eye Spirit Dragon shuts them down, so they can't do stuff like that. And it has another effect where once per turn, during either player's turn, you can tribute this Synchro Summon card, special summon a 1 light Synchro Summon monster from your extra deck. So that means you tribute this card, you can instantly go into Azure Eyes. Azure Eyes' effect will trigger as well. So all your dragons currently on the field cannot be destroyed by card effects, or you can go into Moonlight to bounce a card back. Please bear in mind that if you summon out a monster with Spirit Dragon's effect, it is destroyed during the end phase. Azure Eyes can get around that with its own effect. Obviously Moonlight, you're only go into it if you're going to go into Crystal Wing. And speaking of Crystal Wing, 1 tuner plus a light synchro. All of our level 1 tuners, you just basically summon them out with your Moonlight, go into Crystal Wing. When you're Crystal Ring basically shuts down one of your opponent's monster effects once per turn and negates and destroys it. And then Crystal Ring gains that monster's Crystal Ring gains that monster's attack until the turn's end phase. And finally, if Crystal Ring attacks a so that is a level 5 or higher, it gains that monster's attack points during damage calculation. Going on to the Exceeders, we are running some Galaxy Eyes cards, such as Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, Galaxy Eyes Fully Armoured, and Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. I am kind of classing Hope Harbinger since it kind of is a Galaxy card. The reason why I'm running this, guys, is because they're just easy fodder for Blue Eyes. So I'm not really going to go into Cypher Dragon too much. I don't really use his effect all that well. I use him to go into Fully Armoured. So 2 level 8s, has the same attack and defense as Blue Eyes. You can detach one Exceeds material and target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Its name becomes Blue Eyes Cypher Dragon, Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. Its attack becomes 3000, but it can't attack your opponent directly. But say your opponent's got 2 monsters on the field, you take control of one. You can use it to attack your opponent's monster, then go for the direct attack with Cypher Dragon. With the original Cypher Dragon, you can do that play. Galaxy Eyes Fully Armoured Cypher Dragon, you summon this card by overlaying a Galaxy Eyes monster such as the Photon Lord or the Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. And this guy's effect is you're not going to play the Equip spell effect, but you detach one Exceeds material, then target one face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. Just gets rid of around pesky cards your opponent has, and also has 4000 attack points, which means you can get around a lot of monsters. One Numeron Dragon, number 100. This guy pretty much equals OTK. So you summon out this card's effect. You summon out this card, guys, with the effect of number 97, Dragulubon. This card is just broken. You're only going to summon out this card, guys. It won't say if you guarantee the win, but if you want to go for a big like form of damage. So Numeron Dragons for a level 1 is just broken. You use one overlay. You can detach one overlay unit. This card gains 1000 attack points for all Exceeds ranks on the field until the end of your opponent's next turn. This card, however, if it used the effect, I believe other monsters can't attack. Don't hold me on that, but I think that might be because of Dragulubon's effect. Effect really instead of Numeron Dragons. But so say for instance you just had Dragulubon and Numeron Dragon. You just summon out. You have just those two. This card is going to go into rank. This card is going to have 9000 attack points, which just OTKs your opponent so easy. If you have another monster on board, it's going to have something like 17,000 attack points, which for a rank 1 is just broken. Hope Harbinger, this guy shuts down spells, guys. Once per turn, whenever your opponent activates a spell during either player's turn, you can negate the spell and attach it to Hope Harbinger as an overlay unit. So Hope Harbinger shuts down spells. You can have Crystal Wing to negate monster effects. We also have Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord, which can shut down monster effects as well. Do not look over Photon Lord. You're not really going to use its effect where during your opponent's turn you can search out a Photon card, add it to your hand or attach it. You're not really going to use that. You are going to use the effect where when an opponent's monster activates its effect, you can attach one of those material, negate that monster effect. You can as a quick effect as well, you can do it to your opponent's turn. And also, because it's a Galaxy Eyes card, you can overlay this card to go into Fully Armoured. And then, like I say, Dragulubon, I believe I'm saying that card's name right. I do apologise if I'm butchering it up. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, which is great, gives it a little bit of protection. You can use one overlay unit to take 2 dragon number monsters with different names from our extra deck or in the graveyard. So if you did summon Hope Harbinger early on in the duel and it got destroyed, you can resummon it. So basically, you normal summon Numeron Dragon, so you get special summon Numeron Dragon, then you basically equip Hope Harbinger to it as an overlay unit, and then you go from there with Numeron Dragon. You get special summon one of them, and then, like I say, attach the other one as its material. Also, for the rest of the turn, you cannot special summon other monsters or declare an attack, except with that special monster. Like I say, if you play Dragulubon's effect, special Numeron Dragon, only Numeron Dragon can attack that turn. But I'm not going to lie, when it has something like 17,000 attack or 9,000 attack, it's not going to really matter if you're just going to go for an OTK. or if your opponent has a monster in attack mode, you just go for it. That's why I love. That's why I love these Xyzes. And then going on to the links, we are running one Blackluster Soldier. One Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. That's a bit of a mouthful, not? It's 3 monsters with different names, guys. If this card is link summoned using a level 7 or higher monster, your opponent cannot target with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. So, because obviously our blue eyes, like I say, are level 7 or higher, you can pretty much gain this card cannot be destroyed or targeted by card effects. And when this card destroys opponent's monster by battle, you can activate one of these effects where it either gains 1500 attack, it can make a second attack during the battle phase, and because that effect does not say only on monsters, if you attack destroy opponent's monster, it can attack again directly, or you can banish one card your opponent has. So that's absolutely fantastic, Blackluster Soldier. You're really going to go into this card because of Needle Fiber. And speaking of Crystalline Needle Fiber, I'm going to call it Needle Fiber because I cannot pronounce its TCG name. We all know it as Needle Fiber, so I'm going to call it as that. You use 2 monsters, including a tuner. We have a load of tuners, so that's not going to be a problem. It just gives your tuners a lot more play, if that's all you have, and it's just fantastic. So, for instance, if you have you brought back another monster and then you have a tuner in hand, you just summon out a tuner. You can link them both away into the Needle Fiber. Then, if you've already got a blue eyes on the field, like I had on one of my replays, you can then play Needle Fiber's effect, where if this card is link summoned, you can special summon a level 1 or a level 1 to 3 tuner monster from your hand or deck. So Needle Fiber just sets up the ancients or the legends so well. So you can just bring back another ancients, then you're then set to either synchro into like Spirit Dragon. You are then, if you use your other monster, go into the Blackluster Soldier. You see what I mean, guys? There are a lot of plays you can do just because of Needle Fiber. It's absolutely fantastic. And also, you can banish this. Card you control to special summon 1 tuner synchro. We don't have a tuner synchro, so you're not really going to play that effect. You're only going to play the effect to special summon a tuner from your deck, so then you can use its effect during the end phase. 1 copy of Heretic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. You need 2 dragons to summon this. That includes your tuner, your dragon spirits. Your white stones are also classed as dragons, so you can use them to summon out this card. If this card is in the extra monster zone, it does get an effect where you contribute 1 monster from your hand or field, return 1 face-up card on the field to the hand. So, like say, you contribute like a dead card in your hand. Like say you've got one, you say like you want to send a blue eyes to the grave, you want to send one of your spirits, you just want to say Galactic Spiral. You can do that. Then you can just return 1 card one card your opponent has back to the deck. Back to the hand. And if this tributes some. And if this card is tributed, you can special summon 1 dragon from your hand or deck, but make it to attack and defense 0. So you can just tribute this card to just go into another combo extender. Then finally, Link Karibo. Like I say, we do have a lot of level 1, so especially if you summon out a monster with Crystal or Needle Fiber, you can just tribute that monster to go into Link Karibo. So yeah, absolute fantastic. So Link Karibo does have a graveyard effect where you contribute a level 1 monster to special summon this card from the grave. So for instance, like next turn you have nothing apart from a level 1. You can just summon the level 1, such as say we had nothing next turn, we top deck an Ancients, summon the Ancients, tribute it, summon Link Karibo from grave. Ancients effects will then trigger in the graveyard. So yeah, I do hope this deck can help, guys. I did ramble on. Actually, I have rambled on far too much. But this deck is just absolutely fantastic. I actually love the extra deck. You can abuse it so much. And yeah, Blue Eyes is just fun again because of Master Rule 5. I don't know which deck I'm going to make next, guys. I might make a Salamangreat next. I don't know. Don't hold me on that. I might make a Red Eyes. You guys have requested a lot of decks. So I will try my best to get through them all as quickly as I can and as best as I can. I do my research on a lot of decks, so I do try and make them as best as we can currently make them. If you enjoyed this deck, hit that thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow, and I get to see if you enjoyed this deck. If you have any ways to change this deck or have any comments or questions, put them in the comment section down below. I will always try and respond to every single question or comment that I get. And with that, guys, hope you enjoy the deck replays. Sorry that this video drove on far too long. Take care, stay safe, stay healthy where you are in the world. Take care.